Maintenance employee standards. Employees will have or obtain knowledge, methods, and materials used in grounds and landscape area construction maintenance work, working knowledge of and the ability to use hand and power tools and equipment, ability to operate trucks and light motorized equipment, physical strength, stamina, and agility, ability to follow oral and written directions, possession of a valid driver's license. Daily injury reporting form and first aid kit. Procedures guidelines for injury reporting form. This form is located in the staff lunchroom inside the first aid kit. It is to be used when any staff member happens to hurt him or herself while on the job. Whether you need or do not need materials from the first aid kit, it still needs to be documented. It's very important that you report any injury, how small, to your supervisor as soon as possible. Regardless of the perceived severity, all injuries are documented in case of subsequent complications that may develop. Non-life-threatening injuries or illness are to be reported immediately to the first aider on duty by the injured or ill employee or intending employee. If you require professional health care or will have lost wages beyond the day of the accident due to injury, obtain the employee WSIB pack from your supervisor. Please refer to the Devil Pulpits Golf Association Employee Handbook for more detailed information. Procedures guidelines for first aid kit. The first aid kit is there for everyone's safety. There are 2 of them located in this facility. One is in the staff lunchroom, and the other is located in the mechanic shop. Anytime someone needs to use first aid, they must notify a manager or supervisor. The following list of people can be used to help when needed. If any time materials are used from the first aid kit, it must be documented on the first aid inventory sheet as well as the injury reporting form. The Devil's Pulpit Golf Association strives for an accident-free environment, and staff safety is our #1 priority. Working hours. A regular workday at the Devil's Pulpit Golf Association is normally 8 hours. The actual hours of operation will fluctuate during the season. Employees are required to work on weekends as scheduled. The weekend schedule will be posted in advance. We require that all staff are here ready to work in the lunchroom at least 10 minutes prior to the actual start time. Employees must be ready to work at these times, i.e. boots or shoes on, rain gear on, etc. Job assignments will be handed out at this time. Every staff member is required to sign in each working day using our biometric attendance system. Upon your first day of work, your fingerprint will be put into the system so that you and only you can sign in each day. You will sign in after you've been assigned your job. At the end of the day, you will sign out and get ready to go home. Supervisors should be notified at least 1 week in advance if you are planning to take certain days off in the summer. This allows proper time to make changes to the schedules. There are 4 long weekends throughout the golfing season, and workers are required to work on the weekends that they're scheduled for. Uniform and grooming policy. You are expected to dress in a manner that reflects the professional image that the Devil's Pulpit wishes to project. You are provided with a uniform that must be worn and maintained in a respectable manner. The following is a set of criteria that should be followed when dressing for work. Shirt tucked in, pants worn on waist with belt, pants hemmed to a proper length, Shorts and shirts are not to be rolled up. Clean clothing upon arrival for work. Torn clothing repaired or replaced. Hat on forward and straight. Boots tied up at all times. The DPGA personal grooming policy, as stated on page 15 of the employee manual, says proper personal hygiene must be followed. Jewelry must be kept to a minimum for safety standards. Long hair must be tied back as a safety precaution. It is permissible to wear your own jackets and sweaters for warmth. These items should be conventional with a minimum of labels. Permissible colors are earth tones and darks. Only Devil's Pulpit hats are permitted at work. Toques can be worn when required. When in doubt regarding dress, consult with a supervisor. Personal protective equipment. As well as uniforms, you will be provided with personal protective equipment. You will be supplied with a pair of safety glasses at the beginning of the season that are yours to use and take care of. You will also be supplied with non-disposable earplugs. They are also yours for the season. You'll be supplied with a booklet that details hole-by-hole mowing routes, health and safety rules, clipping areas, bunker rake placements, contact info, etc. This booklet is yours to keep and is mandatory that you have it on you at all times as part of your uniform. Any lost or broken booklets will be replaced at your cost, $10 per booklet. Small Ziploc bags are available to keep books dry in our unpredictable climate. For your use, the club provides sunscreen and bug spray. It is mandatory for everyone to have a pair of running shoes as well as a pair of safety shoes or boots. These safety shoes or boots must be CSA approved, and replacement may be required if the wear and tear exceeds the Devil Pulpit's standards. These are to be worn while working on the golf course. Lunch break. You are given a paid 30-minute lunch break during an 8-hour shift. Lunch break is to be taken at a time that coincides with the work that is being done, but is never later than 12 p.m. If you decide that you would like to leave the premises for lunch, you are required to notify your supervisor, punch out, and complete your entire lunch break within half an hour. Special circumstances are up to the discretion of the supervisor. Beverages. Employees are encouraged to carry water with them while they work. It is important that you drink water during hot weather. You must provide your own water bottle, and travel caffeine mugs are not permitted. Water coolers are available on the golf course for the use of golfers and employees. Please show courtesy and consideration to the golfers when they need to use the water coolers. There is a coffee machine in the lunchroom. The club provides the coffee for you. You are expected to provide your own mug for the coffee. Drinking coffee is only allowed in the maintenance shop. This will be strongly enforced. Maintenance facility. The Devil's Pulpit Golf Association possesses one of the largest and most modern maintenance facilities in the industry. As employees, we are privileged to have this facility. It is therefore important that we take pride in its upkeep. This will ensure a more efficient, safe, tidy work environment, as well as fostering a professional atmosphere for our fellow employees and visitors. It is the responsibility of the maintenance staff to keep the entire maintenance building and surrounding areas neat and tidy at all times. Staff must clean after themselves. A shop steward will be around the facility ensuring the upkeep of the maintenance area. They have specific duties outlined for them. This position is not to be taken for granted by other employees. It is up to all employees of the Devil's Pulpit Golf Association to tidy up after themselves and ensure a safe and healthy work environment. Employees are discouraged from using telephones unless necessary. Telephone calls must be made during the lunch break or after work. Ask your supervisor or office administrator if you can use the telephone. Utility vehicles and maintenance equipment. Utility vehicles and maintenance equipment at the Devil's Pulpit Golf Association are always well maintained and in top operating order. Our maintenance equipment is often working in areas highly visible to golfers. It is important that all vehicles and maintenance equipment are kept free and clean of garbage. It is the responsibility of the operator, when finished with the equipment, to properly clean it. This includes rinsing the equipment, disposing of garbage left in the equipment, and removing any personal articles. Any personal articles left in equipment outside of lockers or in the lunchroom at the end of the day will be considered garbage and will be disposed of. Weather. It is expected that all staff show up for work in the morning unless specifically informed otherwise by a supervisor. In the event of inclement weather, it will be up to the discretion of the supervisor as to what action will be taken. Lightning. It is responsible for the death of hundreds of people on golf courses in North America each year. As a golf course employee, it's important that we keep this statistic in mind. The Devil's Pulpit is equipped with a lightning detection system, which will sound one solid tone when lightning is detected in the immediate area. At this time, you must seek shelter at one of the locations closest to the area you're working: the clubhouse, gazebo, maintenance shop, front gate, and golf course washrooms. When it's safe to return to work, an alternating tone will sound, and your supervisor will inform you it's safe to go back. Clubhouse. The Devil's Pulpit is a private club. The clubhouse and its entities are specifically for the use of the club's members and guests. Staff are not allowed in the clubhouse unless specifically instructed by a supervisor or for shelter from the weather. Golf course washrooms. Washrooms are provided on the golf course are for the golfers. If you must use one of these washrooms, be sure to leave it the way you found it, clean and free of debris. Smoking. In accordance with the Ministry of Health, smoking is prohibited inside the maintenance facility. This law and our policies extend to include any licensed vehicle or enclosed piece of equipment owned by the Devil's Pulpit Golf Association. There is a designated smoking area outside the maintenance building. However, this cannot interfere with your assigned task, nor can it be visible to the golfers. Smoking is prohibited on the golf course and will be strictly enforced. Non-permitted items. There are a few items that we do not permit on the golf course. There are no exceptions to the following items. Cell phones. If you have a cell phone or any other form of wireless communication, you must leave it in your car or your locker, and it must be off while you're here. Your cell phone may not be used as a watch on the golf course. Purchase a watch for this purpose. Backpacks. You are not allowed to carry around a backpack while on the golf course. Take what you need from your locker before you leave the shop. Audio devices. MP3 players, iPods, radio headphones. Audio devices are not to be used on the golf course, no matter what you are doing. You need to be aware of all your surroundings. If any of these items are found on the golf course, they will be confiscated and returned to the employee at the end of the workday. Appropriate disciplinary action will follow if any of these policies are violated. Progressive disciplinary policy. The Devil's Pulpit Golf Association is committed to providing all employees a safe and healthy work environment. If any employee is found to be violating any of our policies, procedures, or safe work practices, they may face disciplinary action up to and including termination of their employment. The DPGA follows a progressive disciplinary policy as follows. First infraction. Verbal warning from your manager or supervisor. This conversation will be documented and placed in the employee's file. Second infraction. Written warning from your manager, supervisor, or human resources manager. This letter must be acknowledged as received by the employee. The employee will be provided with an opportunity to write a formal statement of disrepute in regards to the written warning, and may choose to request a meeting with their manager and/or human resources manager. Third infraction may be handled in one of two manners, depending on the severity of the infraction. 1. A final written warning with a clear statement that if any violation against the company's policies and procedures occurs again, termination of the employment will result. Or 2. Immediate termination of employee. If following an investigation, an employee is found to have violated the DPGA's violence in the workplace, discrimination and/or sexual harassment policy, and/or the drug and alcohol policy, they may face immediate termination if their actions result in harm or discrimination against a fellow employee. Greenskeeping involves many safety and health hazards. The Safety Training Information section of your golf course employee's manual contains vital information to keep you safe, as well as our standard safe work practices to prevent accidents and injuries. It is your responsibility as an employee to read this manual and understand its contents, and to ask questions if you need clarification. Failure to do so can and will lead to your termination for failure to follow standard, safe operating procedures as outlined. Training procedures. As a part of the Golf Course Operations Department, you'll become skilled at doing a multitude of different tasks to the high standard of excellence and safety. There is a formal process of training that will ensure these standards are met. An employee training form, ETF, will be assigned to each individual and will document the equipment, tasks, and environmental hazards for which you've been trained. You will only operate equipment for which you have been fully trained. A supervisor will sign off on the ETF when you've completed the training objectives of a particular piece of equipment or hazard. Safety protocols. The first step in operating any piece of equipment is to ensure it is in safe operating condition. This will be accomplished by completing a pre-use inspection, or PUI, each day. The PUI form to fill out is located at the equipment key box and PUI station. Each machine will have a series of safety tests that must be conducted and documented. If a machine fails any of the tests, the employee must document the failure and notify their supervisor or the mechanic immediately. If necessary, the equipment will be locked out by the supervisor until the repair is completed. All other equipment repair issues must be documented on the repair log and notified to the supervisor or mechanic. Once the machine is repaired, the employee can use the machine. Safe lifting and carrying. What can happen? Back, neck, arm or leg pain, muscle strain or sprain, dislocation of joints, sometimes leading to chronic pain. Rules. Clear the path for the lift. Move as close to the load as possible and position your feet about shoulder width apart. Test the object's weight by lifting one end. Tighten your muscles to prepare for the lift. Grab the object firmly, keeping the load balanced. Bend your knees, keeping your back as straight as possible, and use your legs to lift the object. Carry the object close to your body with your elbows bent and upper arms straight. Move your feet to turn. Do not twist your body. When putting an object on a surface above the floor, place the edge of the load on the surface and slide it into place. When reaching above your head or below your waist, put one foot in front of the other and tighten your stomach muscles. And remember, if the load is awkward or too heavy for you, call another person, use a dolly, or other mechanical assistance. Do not attempt to lift the load alone. Fueling mobile equipment. Risks. Gas vapor buildup can be ignited by spark or open flame. Fire or explosion from improper fueling. Rules. Only trained and authorized staff can fuel mobile equipment. Fill mobile equipment outdoors, preferably on pavement, cement, or stone surfaces. Fill fuel tank before starting a job. Shut off engine before fueling. Remove fuel cap slowly, holding it at a semi-lock position until pressure is released. Clean up spills immediately. Spillage can create an unsafe condition. Replace fuel cap when finished fueling. Store fuel in a designated area away from heat, ignition sources, or direct sunlight. Restrictions. Do not smoke or light matches. Use a lighter or any sparkling device within 3 meters of a fueling point. Increase distance on warmer days. Do not overfill the tank. Where possible, do not fill fuel tanks on grass. Do not store fuel with oxidizers. Driver-operated power equipment. Risks. Refer to your golf course operations manual, the safety training section, to review the identified risks listed separately for each piece of equipment. Rules. See safety rules listed separately for each piece of equipment. Driving rules. Only trained and authorized staff can operate equipment. Read and understand the contents of the operator's manual before starting and operating equipment. Only staff with a valid current driver's license can operate motorized equipment. Only one passenger per seat. Only transport passengers for the intended use of the vehicle. Keep arms and legs inside the vehicle before backing up. Approach sharp turns, blind corners, and steep hills slowly and with caution. Watch for bumps, hollows, or other terrain hazards. Maintain at least 2 vehicle lengths distance between vehicles. Follow all posted caution and traffic signs. Drive at a walking pace in pedestrian traffic areas. Watch for and give the right of way to pedestrians. Apply service brake when going downhill to maintain control of the machine. Park on flat surfaces wherever possible. Set the parking brake before getting out of the vehicle. Turn off the engine when the vehicle is left unattended refueled, or loaded with product. Immediately report all incidents involving workers, members, and guests, building structures, equipment, and landscaping to your supervisor. Restrictions. Do not coast on hills. No driving fast. Gas-powered equipment. Risks. Refer to your golf course operations manual, the safety training section, to review the identified risks listed separately for each piece of equipment. Rules. Only trained and authorized staff can operate equipment. Read and understand the contents of the operator's manual before starting and operating equipment. Use hearing protection provided by supervisor. Inspect equipment before starting and report any deficiencies, missing guards, or potential problems immediately to your supervisor or mechanic. Equipment identified as potentially deficient must be first cleared by the mechanic before using again. If the mechanic determines that the reported defect is of such a nature that it potentially poses a safety hazard to the operator, he locks out the equipment according to the DPGA lockout procedure until the problem can be further assessed and corrected. Fuel equipment according to DPGA fueling procedure and as specified by the manufacturer and supervisor. Turn off the engine before doing any adjustments, repairs, and/or maintenance. Wait for the engine, any muffler or exhaust pipes to cool down before touching. Restrictions. Do not operate damaged or faulty equipment, equipment missing guards, and equipment presenting mechanical difficulties. Do not touch hot engine parts, mufflers, exhaust pipes, spark plug cords, or other metallic parts while the engine is turned on or immediately after shutting down the engine. They can reach high temperatures during operation and can cause serious burns. Do not wear loose clothing, scarves, jewelry, or unconfined long hair when operating equipment, as it may get caught in the equipment.